Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Icon here. Thanks for checking out another episode of Esports Analysis. Today, again, a little different video. This week has been kind of, I don't know, just a little bit different. We had, now before this, so we broke down a map where Chicago went to battle against Paris. We also did like a Paris scrim that was on Call of Duty League. So we've been trying to switch it up as much as we possibly can. So with this one, what you're going to be watching today is a scrim between Chicago and it's actually a team called Triumph. So they're in the Challenger Series. If you look at the kill feed in the left-hand corner, you're probably going to see a lot of names that you recognize, like Royalty and Felony and Nagafin. And so a lot of names that have been around the scene for a really long time. It's just ones that we don't cover that often because most of the time we like to stick to teams that are actually in the CDL. But every once in a while, like when they scrimmage Team Singularity, I don't know, I just thought it was interesting to see how close these matches are. And, you know, is one team actually a lot better than the other, or what goes into one team actually performing better than the other? So for this one, as we rotate from P1 to P2, the first thing that I want to point out is that as this rotated back towards P2, the biggest thing that I noticed is that they were able to flip spawns. So Chicago was able to go all the way through. Now they're spawning out. So let me go ahead and let me pause this just so I can show you. Minimap, top right-hand corner of the screen. I am going to draw on that every once in a while so that I can really drive my point home. But Chicago got this spawn here. So when you were watching Formal, he was able to go all the way back behind and he set up behind P2 over here. So before P2 popped, he was just kind of hiding in the back over here. And what they were able to do is they were successfully able to get this back spawn. And this spawn mixed with P2 is a recipe for success. This is super sticky. It's really easy to get all 60 points out of P2. Now, what just happened is that when Formal died and came up, he spawned over here towards ammo. So if you're spawning ammo, that means that your enemy has pushed through this back spawn. And whether they're in construction, whether they're in dirt, whether they're kind of in this area by sandbags, any of these areas will force you to spawn out over towards ammo. So we'll see if they're able to break it. But most of the time, once you get spawned out towards ammo, it's really hard to get through. Now, even though Formal died and he spawned out, you can see that the rest of his team is doing a really nice job of getting kills inside the hardpoint. So even there, they were able to get a two-piece. There's one more. Looks like Felony. He got traded out by Envoy. So that was really weird because normally if you're successful at pushing out the back spawn in P2, then it's really easy to hold that one down. So again, those are, I don't want to say that's like a sign of an amateur team because I'm sure more often than not, if an amateur team is to break a spawn, then they're probably going to be able to hold it. But the biggest thing with P2 there was that when they actually broke the spawn, Chicago still had like 3 or 4 people inside the hard point. So yeah, they were able to break the spawn, but they weren't actually able to push into that P2 hard point, which is why Chicago was able to continue to hold that hard point and why they have the lead that they have now. Now, as we go ahead and move on from P2 to P3, I know it's already halfway over, but this is the great thing about this map, and I guess it depends on how you look at it. Some people like it, some people don't, but essentially what I was referring to is that if you lose everything on P2 and you're not able to break spawns and you're not able to get inside and you're not able to get time and all that, it's not the end of the world because P3 is on the opposite side of the map. And it's the same thing as what goes for P4, right? If you're not able to break into P3, you're not able to get any points, you're not able to flip spawns, you're not able to get map control, anything like that. P4 is in construction on the opposite side of the map. So this is just happens to be one of those maps that ping pongs back and forth from one side to the other. And as you can see right now, Chicago has done a really nice job of setting themselves up for success. Two coming through mid, that's one of the ways that a lot of people look. So that should have been easy to defend, but it does look like 3 went down and now they're spawning out. I couldn't quite see exactly how it happened, but most of the time, if you end up spawning out, they're either successful in pushing dirt or they're successful in pushing out that back white van spawn kind of back behind P2. Let me go ahead and stop this and draw this also. So Chicago was set up in the hill, and just to kind of, now they had 4 people around P4 here, and Formal was kind of bumping back and forth between watching this ammo sight line and watching mid-map. When Formal died, it's when he was watching mid-map. So what more than likely happened, again, it's hard without the codcaster and seeing where the arrows go, but remember when Formal died, there were multiple people here mid-map. So if one person flanks behind and goes back construction, they're going to get that spawn. And that's kind of the problem with the person that's watching that right-hand flank with Formal over here. If he goes down and he's in this position, now that entire right-hand side of the map is open. And if the enemy is able to push through there and they're able to come up behind you and get kills inside of P4, you're going to spawn out in ammo. And now all of a sudden in P3 and P4, this amateur team was really successful at holding down P3 and at breaking P4. So with 7 seconds left, as this is about to rotate back to the other side of the map over towards P5, they're actually, Team Triumph is actually going to have what looks to be like a 10-point lead. So even with that happening, so Chicago did a really nice job on P1 and P2. Triumph took it back, right? They brought it back on P3 and P4. But even with that happening, at the end of P5, if they're able to hold on here, if Chicago is able to hold on here, they're still probably going to have a lead as this finishes the first set of rotations. So they're doing a really nice job. And this is something that, I don't know. I don't love the way that Team Triumph was approaching that. So again, mini map top right hand corner. If Chicago had this back spawn over here and they're all looking mid and Formal was this back alley and they have somebody pushed up on these sandbags, then if I'm a team that's spawning by ammo here, I don't just want to run into these 3 lanes over and over again. Most of the time, you like to send somebody mid. Maybe you can get into P3 and pinch them. Maybe you can go up top platform and jump down into arches, right? If you can do either of those moves, then you have a better chance of actually breaking P5. But if you're just constantly over and over and over again running into P5, it's probably not going to work out very well for you, and that's kind of what you're seeing. So towards the end of that, they were able to essentially get like 50 points inside of P5, and they've been able to retake their lead. Now, the tough thing is going to be for Chicago, yes, you want to get all the points you possibly can inside of P1, but again, P2 is the one that's really sticky. You can really get a bunch of points on P2 just like you can on P5. So my guess would be that the #1 thing is them trying to flip spawns here, and we'll see if they're successful. But again, the great thing about being on board with scrims, and I just want to point out the kill feed. That's like 2 sets of team battles in a row that Chicago won there. That was all blue for Chicago. So we'll see if they're able to keep it up. But that could be a big thing towards them, whether they win or lose this game. But with that, the great thing about these is that we can turn up the volume and we can listen to their team comms. So with that, I'm going to turn it up. I'm going to let you guys listen in, and let's hear exactly what they're talking about in terms of strategy.
Side door. On the back door, watching side.
Bag's dead.
Spawner.
Another one. Got me back. Wait,
I'm fighting.
Again, Formal spawning over towards ammo, which means they're being pushed out on construction. This is exactly like it was the first set of rotations. Yes, Triumph was able to push out that back spawn, but they weren't actually then able to secure the kills to get inside the hardpoint.
Back door, royalty.
Maybe I jinxed it until right then.
I'm holding, guys. They push up front, they push up front. I'll go fan, dead. Might be loading here, guys. I can help you with rugs, I think.
I killed him. I'm 1 shot.
You have left?
Yeah, I have all left.
I'm on plat right now, guys. Is that top rugs?
As this is about to rotate from P2 to P3, it does look like Chicago's doing a really nice job of, if I'm looking at the minimap in the top left-hand corner, they have somebody over by Ruins, and then Formal's looking over here by top rugs. So they have both of the flanks locked down. Let's just see if they're able to hold it as the time ticks off in P3.
They're all hitting up middle, dude.
Yeah,
3 right there for Triumph went middle, and it looks like RC's got caught in between throwing a nade.
Tree door. Nader, bro. I got stuck, I guess.
This is a hill that's just absolutely insane, right? That has been 2 squad wipes for Triumph over Chicago, and they're still spawning back at this. I hate this spawn here. If you're able to push in and get a squad wipe, there's no reason for Chicago to still be spawning in the back. Yes, it took like 3 sets of squad wipes in order for them to spawn out, but that's just one that's way too sticky in terms of how I think Hardpoint should be played.
Yeah, one more zig, I think. One more zig, guys. Good job, good job. I'm holding rugs. I have rugs.
Again, if Chicago didn't get pushed out at P3, they easily could have won the game on P3, but they're set up again, right? They're again set up to win on P4. We'll see if they're able to stop the push here from Triumph.
They're back, guys.
How the fuck did he manage to get backable things?
One's still cat,
I'm hitting back, I'm flooding out.
Dig right now, Jared.
15 seconds. Looks like mid's locked down. Looks like dirt is locked down.
I have front door.
With 3 in the kill feed right there, 4 in the kill feed. Oh, there's one more.
Absolutely.
And that'll probably do it, right? There was one more person there that had a chance to end up winning it for, or at least extending the game for Triumph, and they were just unsuccessful with that final push. So with that, again, not a perfect map, right? It's not like everything they did was perfect. It's not like when they were set up, they were able to hold, like on P3 on that second set of rotations there. They were back there, they were set up, and they just got slayed out over and over again. So it's not like everything there for Chicago was perfect, but overall they did a pretty nice job. It's nice to see Formal being top frag for Chicago, 25 and 23. Everybody else seemed to struggle a little bit. Envoy was positive, but that's what Envoy does, right? He's always positive. But RC's -2, Gunless -4, Scump -6. So in the slaying department, it might have been a little bit shaky, but good to see Formal being top frag because with him switching roles over to an SMG, I don't know. It's just something that's nice to see. So if you're new around here, you enjoy this sort of content. If you like seeing the amateur teams, let me know. I like to mix it up, right? It just seems like every so often seeing Surge and then seeing Subliners and then seeing Paris, like sometimes that can get a little stale. So if there's something out of the ordinary like this, I like to throw it in. So let me know if you enjoy it. If you have any comments whatsoever, leave them down below. Make sure you leave a like before you head on your way. Thank you guys so much for all of the support recently. I super appreciate it. This weekend, the actual competitions returns. So make sure we're tuning in this weekend. I'll give a little breakdown before that weekend comes. But with that, guys, I'm going to stop rambling. I will see you in tomorrow's upload.